a few minutes about the idea of how to get Super Bowl money. I was thinking about my main man, Usher, who performed at halftime at the Super Bowl, and he got in front of what? A record number, 123 million people watched the Super Bowl. Imagine being an entrepreneur and desiring to have people come to you for your particular business and your particular service. Imagine being a person who gets 123 million people to stop by your store just to window shop just for a day. Can you imagine the effect of that? Well, that's what Usher did. His name is appropriate because he ushered himself in front of a crowd of people. Anything about him, or maybe I'd never seen him sing, or maybe I'd never seen him dance. And now he has these people from clear across the world, across the entire planet, who are familiar with who he is today. So I have a question for you. My question is this. If you're in business, and you're in business for the point of earning money, you're in business, I'm sure, for several reasons. The business cannot be viable and cannot operate and cannot sustain itself without income on a consistent basis. So how do you put yourself in front of a large amount of people and then have them line up to do business with you? Well, Usher, what he did was absolutely spectacular. Now, listen, they only paid Usher $671. That's the standard fee that artists get paid to perform at halftime for the Super Bowl. Now, some of you all might be saying, that is absurd. No way in the world I would perform at the Super Bowl for a mere $671. All that money the NFL is making, all of that television revenue, all of that gate sale. See, a person with a petty mindset, they would have canceled their own contract because they weren't thinking proactively like Usher was. See, Usher was thinking proactively. He said, you know what? He said, I'll take $671 to perform on stage. He said, why? Because they're about to expose me to 123 million people. That's major exposure. So now people know about Usher clear across the world. It reminds me of the book of 2 Samuel and how David, when he was on the run for his life, before he became on the run for his life, because David had killed a man and had taken his wife unlawfully, God told him that the sword was going to never leave his house. So his son Absalom became a rebel. So here's Absalom. He's a pretty boy. He's like the barge. If you was going to picture Absalom today, you picture him like, like the barge. There'll never be a better love. So you picture him like that. So Absalom, pretty boy Absalom, decides that he wants to take over the kingdom. But he doesn't want to inherit the kingdom from his father. He actually wants to murder his father and take the kingdom. So he decides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself exposed to the entire kingdom so they can come and pick me and I can be the next king. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? He said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put myself in front of where the people are already coming. And that's how you develop large amounts of people to find out who you are and what you're doing, and then possibly be able to get them on your team to do business with you. So Absalom had a great even though he was a low-down guy, he had a great marketing idea, and that was what? Let me just go where the people are already coming anyway. So what did he do? He set up shop early in the morning out in front of the gate where people were coming to see King David. So why were they coming to see the king? Because they had problems. They had problems with this, problems with that, and they were coming to tell the kings, bringing their problems to the king. The song poet said, take it to the king. So they're trying to take their problems to the king. And marketing is called cold traffic, turning cold traffic into warm traffic. In other words, traffic that doesn't belong to you becoming traffic that does belong to you, and ultimately you can do business with them. So Absalom is sitting at the gate, and when people come by, he said, if I was the judge of the land, man, you'd be riding in chariots with 20s. Are you hearing me? Exonerated from taxes. He over there making all these campaign promises to people. Now, of course, I made that stuff up about chariots with 20s. We don't know if the chariots was flicking back in the day or what. But we do know that the people started listening to Absalom. Why? Because the Bible said he stole the hearts of the people. The people were coming up to see David, and Absalom said, let me just intercept them because they already coming anyway. Well, that's what Usher did. Usher said these people are already coming to the Super Bowl anyway. They come in whether I perform or whether I don't perform. They're coming whether I get on stage or whether I don't get on stage. They're coming whether or not I expose myself to them or whether or not I don't expose myself to them. They're going to watch the game anyway in record numbers because the product is the National Football League. So I want to be a benefactor of that traffic and turn that traffic into what? My traffic. So Usher, he already had people who love him and people who do business with him. And he already had people who were interested in his product because they were already buying his albums before then. So it wasn't like he was an unknown person. He was a very well known artist prior to going on the Super Bowl. Now he's known clear across the world from people who didn't know who Usher was. And all they paid him up front was $671. Now, this is the problem that people have. This is why people miss out on potentially life-changing type of income, because I'm not going to do anything cheap. I'm not going to do anything free to get in front of people, because I deserve to get paid because I'm good at what I do. Okay, so that's the temperament of a lot of people. Unfortunately, for the people who have that type of temperament, they don't understand that the exposure is more important than the money that you get initially up front. And what you do, what Usher said was, I'm going to bet on myself. If I get in front of these people, I believe they enjoy my performance. If they enjoy my performance, then I'll have an opportunity for them to come and see me live, clear across the world. Now listen, people have friends too. 123 million people watch the Super Bowl. They all got friends. So what does that mean? That means that all 123 million of them, they watch the Super Bowl and they decide, what, I'm just going to refer one person to Usher. Now that means that Usher has over 260 million people paying attention to him. Everybody that watched the Super Bowl just said, hey, we should all go to an Usher concert. I'm just going to take one friend with me. Wow, now he's exposed to 263 million people. Do you see the power of what? The power of proximity, being in the right place at the right time with the right skill set. You got to have skills. You have to be a person that when people come and see you, that they'll want to come back and that they'll want to bring their friends. And you have to be able to deliver whatever your skill set is. However, you can have the best skills in the world and nobody knows anything about you. And so it's a lot of people right now who live in poverty with amazing skill sets. I mean, they can sing, can act, dance, can write poetry, have a multiplicity of skills and can be really good at them. But nobody knows who they are. Why? Because they weren't willing to do something free or something that with a very low cost to draw the person to them initially. So Usher is a very smart young man, and I recommend that we take heed to his wisdom. He said, I'm going to expose myself to the whole world. Everybody's watching. That's one reason why we do free courses for people. That's one reason why I teach people a whole lot of things about money and about life. It's absolutely free. And you say, why would you do that, Rick? You don't want people wasting your time like that. Why? See, because you don't understand. You want the currency of attention. In other words, people pay you with their attention before they ever pay you any money. And if people haven't paid you with their attention, then you'll never earn any money. You don't deserve the money until you get their attention first. So it's a different attitude. That's why the Bible says, give, and it shall be given unto you. That's what Jesus is teaching. He's like, listen, if you put yourself out first, then you can instigate what? Currency into your life, because you can instigate attention. What's the best way? Being able to get another person's attention. Give them your attention initially. Most people, they would rather have another person's attention first, and then they say, I'll give you mine back. But that's not how wealth is made. The way that wealth is made is you give first and then it's given back to you. That's the way life is. To have a prolific life, and be an instigator of abundance in your own life. Like Usher just instigated an amazing amount of abundance in his life, because now when he goes on and sings, people will remember him from the Super Bowl. The people who watched him at the Super Bowl, if they didn't watch it, then they say, hey, you should check out this young man who was dancing and singing at halftime. And he put on this terrific show. For the people who believe the show was terrific, they'll say he put on a terrific show. And I highly recommend that you go and check him out. And now you have the attention of people who didn't even see you initially. So learn how to develop what we call digital assets. Put things together that people can see and watch, and they can watch it over and over and over again about you and what it is that you represent and what it is that you do. Make some digital assets like videos, make some digital assets like songs, make some digital assets, things that people can just go readily and look at on their own time, on their own fruition, and they can check you out based on when you was in front of somebody for free, just teaching, coaching, doing whatever it is that you do. And don't hoard on to your skill sets and perform in a vacuum someplace when nobody ever knows. We're in a worldwide economy now. Anybody with skills should not have a money problem. Why? Because your skills can be introduced to the entire world, and then everybody can benefit from your skill set if you'll do what? If you'll do what Absalom did, by going and sitting in front of the gate where everybody is already coming anyway. And if you do like Usher did, put himself in front of a whole world. He didn't care nothing about no $671. He cared about what? They stream his stuff clear across the world, and then they have a deal with you when you're an artist to do some things for you for performing for the Super Bowl. Put your money on yourself and put your skill set out there and your work ethic out there, and watch what happens with your life. All right, you guys have a beautiful day. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I hope some of them tips really helped you to be able to propel yourself out in front of the audience that's already looking for you. Be blessed in the city and be blessed in the field. And remember, a stellar is a stellar does. Have an outstanding day.